Good evening and welcome back to Untitled Chapter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal, your host for tonight's show, The Lock-In, where we're basically going to be covering all the ins and outs in terms of transfers and obviously previewing what is a massive game this Sunday away to West Ham. But before we get started, as you can see, I'm joined tonight by official Callan Chatter member, Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. Had a busy week, but I'm ready to talk about Arsenal. Feeling positive after a good couple of results. So yeah, man, let's go.
Wicked. Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Obviously, I know there's an important game on at the moment. So do keep us updated with the scoreline, Bobby, because I know you got it on in the background.
Both
But yeah,
1-1.
1-1. So we'll run the intro and then we'll get started.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So yes, welcome back to Callan Chatter TV. Like I said, G Talks Arsenal, your host, and I'm here with Bobby Brown, for the lock-in, where, like I said, we're going to be covering all the transfers, ins and outs, rumours that are going on around on the timeline, as well as obviously previewing what is a massive game this Sunday away to West Ham. So yeah, we're going to get right into it, really. Got no comments in the comments so far, so we're going to get right into it. So where we're going to start tonight, Bobby, is we're going to talk transfers. And I'm not going to get into the incomings straight away because obviously the window, is about to open, coming to the end of the season. And there are, more than a few Arsenal players that, futures at the club are somewhat uncertain for various reasons. So I'm going to surprise you a little because I didn't prepare you for this one. Maybe I did. I'm not sure if I messaged you. But we're going to talk about this fella here, Mr. Pepe. Obviously, Arsenal's record signing, £72 million signing from Lille. Let me know your thoughts. What is your thinking with regard to Pepe? He can't seem to get any minutes for Arsenal right now. Saka's firmly, secured that right wing spot. We definitely are lacking firepower, maybe not so much in the last two games, and he still can't get any minutes. So, what's your thoughts with regards, obviously, Pepe's performance this season, and what do you think the future holds for him going into the summer transfer window?
I've never actually rated Pepe ever since we signed him. I was never excited when we got him because looking at his clips, I just wasn't impressed. I don't really like that kind of style of player. So for me, he's never been the kind of player that I've wanted. And then when he's played for us, even though he's had good patches, he's never been consistent in an Arsenal shirt. Even though his numbers have been quite okay, his performances for me have been way off what we need to be where we want to be. So I think he's like won individual games, hasn't he, a couple of times over the years.
Yeah.
But I remember I actually went to a game. I think I'm not sure if it was his debut. It was in the Europa League, and he scored 2 free kicks. We was actually losing that game. I think it was against Vitesse or against Portuguese team. We was losing that game, and he scored 2 free kicks. It was nice. It was a couple of nice goals, but we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it enough, have we?
No.
It's been too far in between, and all the promise. I mean, the price tag wasn't really his fault, to be honest. He came from League One. To come to the Premier League and hit the ground running is going to be hard, especially in a bad Arsenal top team, because it was a bad Arsenal team at the time. But we've got better now under Mikel Arteta, and he still doesn't seem to figure or get the amount of minutes that maybe he deserves. But I don't think he does deserve them because he hasn't been good enough when he has played. He did play him actually for I think the first 7 games this season, and he didn't really do much. So he's had his chances, and I could see him being sold this summer. Hopefully, he gets sold this summer. But if not, I don't mind him being a bench player because I think he could still do a job against lower teams in the Premier League and in the whatever European competition we are in next season. The games never really get serious until after Christmas anyway, so he could be a filler and play those kind of games. You know what I'm saying? So maybe keep him for that, But if we get a good offer, maybe sell him. But obviously, we'd have to make sure that we get a decent player.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. In terms of, obviously, you know, when I think back, I'm not gonna lie, you know, I'm always honest on this show. I was gassed. I was gassed when we was linked to him, yeah, because obviously I'm looking at the YouTube snippets. I'm looking at like this guy absolutely ripping the French league apart, and I'm thinking, you know what, this is the kind of marquee, you know, signing we need. This is the kind of, you know, dynamic winger that we're looking for, etc., etc. So I was pretty happy when we signed him. Obviously, you know, a few raised eyebrows when you look at the fee, but I was pretty happy. And I think most of the fan base was, to be honest. I think most of the fan base kind of jumped on the bandwagon as well, and was really excited about. Obviously, Arsenal were, you know, spending money, and were signing, you know, somewhat of a sought after winger. Now, obviously, I think right now, I don't think there's a massive push to get rid of him from the Arsenal fan base, because I think we're pretty much happy and with the notion that Saka's playing on the right. And to be honest, I think people have kind of forgotten about Pepe. But in terms of a summer transfer, you said you'd be happy to sell him if we got a good offer. What would you consider a good offer based on his Arsenal career so far, and based on the fact that we did spend record fee £72 million on him?
Well, I know that when we spent the record fee on him, we didn't pay it all in one go, did we? I think we're paying it in 5 installments.
Yeah.
So, considering it's only that, I'd be happy to take, maybe, I don't know, 30 million minimum for him. But he hasn't really done anything to justify a big transfer fee. Let's face it.
He's not on at all.
No, he's had a couple of good performances for Ivory Coast at the African Cup of Nations, but he didn't exactly take them to the final or take them to the title. So, no, he's had good flashes, but he hasn't done anything that would, you know, command a decent fee, especially for some of the good young wingers that are out there of his age, of his profile, that are probably doing it a little bit better and a bit more consistently. So now, I'd say 25 million, 30 million, get that for him. Really, that'd be all right.
Yeah, I think we'd be lucky to get that, to be honest. I think we'd be lucky. And I think if any club comes in with a fee of about 25 or above, I think we'd be probably silly at this point to not kind of, you know, bite their hands off, take the money, finish off paying off for him, and then, you know, potentially buy somebody else. Cool. Yeah, we'll go to the comments at this point, because obviously some of them are flying through. We've got Gio Guna here. Evening, brothers. Evening to yourself. One of the Kind of Chat members, Lee Meadows here. Evening, guys. Have a great show. Thank you very much. My man, Mr. Silver Fox on the Armory TV. Big up yourself, man. Yes, my bros. And he's saying here, I'll take 30 million for Pepe, which is what we're basically saying. I think anything in the region of like 25, 30 million, I think, you know, at this point, we'd need to take. Really Sakar saying hello to yourself, really Sakar. Guna Gumza, yes, Guna Gumza. My guy G Talks, what you saying, bro? I'm good, you know, I'm blessed. I need to jump on the Armory TV very soon. It's been a while since I've been on, but I'm gonna be back very, very soon, fellas, man. So watch out. I'm gonna drop you a WhatsApp. I'm really Sakar again saying, hope the Hammers get a result tonight. Last time I checked, I think, Bobby, you said it was 1-1. Don't know what the score is. They're losing
2-1.
Losing 2-1. You know what?
Soldier scored, I think it was.
Yeah, not bad for us. You know what I mean? We need West Ham to still be in this title, obviously going into the second leg. But we're going to move on to the next player. And again, this is going to be somewhat of a little bit of a surprise to you, Bobby, because I didn't ping this name over. But it's kind of like a forgotten man. I think this guy's gone on loan and everyone's kind of forgotten about him, because every time we talk about the right back situation, we talk about obviously Tomiyasu, we talk about Cedric, we talk about obviously Saliba being able to play there, Ben White playing out there. We recently sold obviously Chambers in the last window, but you know, Bellerin, you know, by the time he went on loan, you know, he wasn't a favorite for the fans. He wasn't a favorite in Mikel Arteta's eyes, which is why he obviously went on loan. He's gone to Petits. Not from what I had seen and stuff on the timeline, he hadn't massively settled in really quickly, but by all accounts, he's doing a lot better in La Liga, in their first team. Even recently won a trophy. So Any thoughts about Bellerin? Because obviously reports at the moment are suggesting that negotiations are happening between Arsenal and Betis about a potential £10 million deal for him to go there permanently. And just to kind of give you a bit of context, his contract runs until June 2023. So any future for Bellerin at Arsenal? And would you say 10 million is a reasonable fee for that permanent transfer to La Liga?
Well, I'll give him away for free, to be honest. I've never rated him either, even from when he came out of the academy, apparently.
Yeah.
But we got him from Barcelona, so we didn't come out of the academy. You basically failed to make it at Barcelona. You came to Arsenal at a time when we didn't have any decent right back, and we was at a time when we was trying to pay for the stadium. And you backdoored a career here, basically. You're shit. You're rubbish. I've never rated him. He can't defend. He's had moments in an Arsenal top. We've made that guy. Look at him. He looks like a freaking. He looks like he should be dancing with bulls. You know, them people. What they call matadors. He should be one of them. He shouldn't be a footballer. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
So ever since he got out jumped by Alonso at Chelsea for a header, he left him on his arse and he faked injury for the next 2 years. And then he had the cheek to moan about the fans and how we were towards him and all that kind of stuff. I've just never ever rated the guy. I've never rated him as a player, and I've never rated him as a bloke either. A lot of people do because they say he does a lot of stuff for charity.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a bit of a poser, and I feel like he does things for himself. I don't feel like he does things for anybody else. So I've just never ever rated or liked Bellerin. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask about that guy, to be honest. I won't be too horrible about him because he doesn't bother me that much. And the fact that Mikel Arteta came, he got rid of him, says it all to me. He's never been in a Spain squad. I think he's probably had like 2 caps. How old is he? 28, and you've only had 2 Spain caps. You're pathetic. Yeah,
27, 28. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, he's shown his level at Arsenal. You know, our worst ever era. Yeah, okay, you got yourself a few FA Cups off the back of Arsene Wenger, our greatest ever manager, but no, not for me. I'm glad if we get 10 million for him, even better. Fantastic. That's good business. But no, not for. It's a big fat no from me, and I'm glad that he's gone, and we'll never see him in an Arsenal shirt again. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was unanimous. I didn't quite expect that from you, Bobby, but you know, hey, Bellerin's one of those ones, isn't it? It's like I think, like I say, I kind of call him the forgotten man because I think the Arsenal fan base have literally just forgotten that he's kind of part and parcel of the Arsenal team. You know, we've not missed him. We've more or less kind of forgotten, like I said, he's part of the squad. But at the end of the day, he's doing his thing in Betis. You know, I wish him all the best of luck. It's clear that he doesn't have a future at Arsenal. And like you said, I think most Arsenal fans will probably be happy if we just gave him away and we got his wages off the wage bill. But the fact, if we could get a sum in the region of 10 million, I think that's absolute brilliant business, considering, you know, the if you kind of look at or reflect on, you know, the last couple of years in terms of his career. So yeah, definitely unanimous from you, unanimous from me. He don't have a future at Arsenal, and the sooner we can, you know, cash in on him, in my opinion, the better. Right, we'll go to the comments because we've got some flying in. We've got Riddy Sakar here saying, okay, we got that one already. Guna Gamza, yeah, just got to take your losses on Pepe, 100%. I've erased this man from my memory. Please don't mention his name. I think he's referring to Bellerin. Viva la Raza, man like Hector Guerrero. Sell him. Gums is coming in saying sell, sell, sell. Lee Meadows, love that reference, Mr. Silver Fox. Laughing at Lee. Gouda Gumza, wow, I thought I hated Bellerin, laugh my ass off. Lee Meadows, Latino Heat. Mr. Silver Fox, don't hold back, Bobby. And Riddy Sakar saying, congrats, Hector, for winning another cup. Right. Now, a player I do know you're going to defend. That's for sure. And if you don't, I don't know. I don't know where I've been. But this is definitely a player I know you're going to defend. And these rumours, particularly, have only kind of surfaced today. I saw a couple of Arsenal content, you know, Twitter apps or whatever, talking about a potential transfer out of the club, which I have to be honest, I was quite a bit surprised at. And it's your man Cedric. Now, obviously, we brought in Tomiyasu. Cedric, you know, from what I remember, from what I was reminded about recently, we got him on a free from Southampton. He's not a player that's massively convinced the whole fan base, but I think when Tomiyasu went out with his injury, I think we were all kind of holding our breath, or some of us were holding our breath in terms of the right back situation. He's come into the team, and to be fair, I have to say he's not really put a foot wrong. He was definitely a player, in my opinion, that I thought we could potentially move on in the summer and get a replacement. But looking at the squad, I definitely feel like the right back situation isn't a massive priority. I think there are much bigger issues in and around the squad, notably up front. But so for me, these rumours that kind of surfaced today about, you know, him potentially getting a move out of the club at the end of the season did surprise me. What was basically confirmed by some, you know, reliable sources is that a conversation is going to be had at the end of the season in terms of his future. Obviously, we don't know, you know, what Mikel Arteta's, you know, plans are, what his thoughts are. But I'll come to you, Bobby. You know, talk to me about Cedric. You know, is he a player that you feel we could, you know, upgrade on, get rid of, maybe bring somebody else in, and just talk to me about, you know, obviously, you know, his season is and his performances, notably in Tomiyasu's absence.
Well, if you will notice that the speculation about Cedric only came after he played a bad game against Manchester United, and that's probably the only bad game he's had in the whole run of deputising. Well, everyone says deputising, but I just think he's been playing right back.
Yeah, he's competing. He's competing.
Yeah, I think that I think he's been exemplary the whole time, but obviously because he had a bad game against Man United, which we won actually. Obviously, the speculation is going to come, and obviously, everyone knows there's going to be a lot of speculation about Arsenal now because we've got a lot of ins and outs. Players coming into their contract, but Cedric got a 4-year contract when he came. This is his second season, so he's still got 2 years left. He's probably going to be on good dough, probably the best dough he's ever been on because he came from Southampton. So unless someone offers him a really good contract somewhere, I can't see him leaving personally. He'll end up being Monreal or something like that. You know, he can fill in at left back if we need. If, like I said about Pepe, those games next season when you know if Tomiyasu does get injured again because he looks like he's going to be injury prone, or if we do buy another right back, I could still see Cedric staying and just being a valuable member of the squad. Obviously, you got to remember we've got Maitland-Niles coming back, who's only on 1 year. So I could see us probably selling him before we sell Cedric because he's obviously got rid of Maitland-Niles and didn't keep him, and he kept Cedric. So I think he probably likes Cedric's character. I remember I've said this to you a lot of times. It seems like
you speak a lot about the character.
Building a squad of good characters. You know, he's just been called up to the Portugal squad again. Obviously, that's off the back of playing well for us. I think he's a good, steady right back. He probably wouldn't be my first choice if I had 20, 30 million to go out and buy a shiny new right back. No. But he's a valuable member of the squad, and people can't deny that because of his recent form. He had one bad game. There's going to be speculation, which is to be expected. But I think that a lot of people overlook the importance of having good characters in squads, especially when we've got really good youngsters coming up. They need to have good characters to be looking up to. They don't need to be looking at Aubameyang shaving their hair and freaking getting their cars wrapped in gold. They need to be looking at good model professionals that act the right way, work hard, and their main focus is their job, which is football. You know, so and I think that the likes of him, the likes of Katie, the likes of Xhaka are the kind of characters that we're going to be seeing a lot more of. So for me, I just think that the speculations blatantly just come out because he had one bad game. And I think we're going to see Cedric stay for a while because I don't think he's going to be offered a better contract anywhere else. And if someone does want to buy him, he's going to be off the back of him playing for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta wanting to keep him. So obviously that's give him a little bit of weight. Do you know what I mean? Let's face it, he's just coming in and he's taking control, and we haven't really missed Tomiyasu because of that. Obviously, we love Tomiyasu coming back from injury because he played so well. A few games that when he was fit, but Yeah, I don't think we would be saying anything if he didn't have one bad game, you know. So I'm more than happy for Cedric to stay a part of the squad because he's a fantastic character for everyone to be, and he's also shown his worth on the pitch. You know, everyone has a bad game, don't they? They all have bad games.
Yeah, it's part and parcel of football. Yeah, part and parcel of football. It's funny though that you should say that, you know, because obviously I think as fans, obviously, you know, we watch the games. You know, there are times when, you know, we'll be quite sensible. There'll be times when we're quite emotional in terms of our response, you know, to the players, the squad, to the results, the league table, etc. But you know, you make a really valid point there, and I know Lee Meadows put it in the comments, and I'll bring that up, where he says Bobby's spot on. Cedric has been solid, fair play to him. But you make a really, you know, good point about characters. And it kind of took me back to when I was playing football, like Saturday and Sunday league. And I wasn't the most gifted of footballers. My technique was pretty basic in terms of like the type of player I was. I moved all over the pitch. Like I started centre back, but I stopped growing. So my dad moved me right back.
Yeah, you told me before.
Yeah, right back then. Eventually, I made CDM, and like I said, for me, I wasn't by no means the most gifted or technically good player. But I was even surprised when my dad made me, even my Saturday league team made me club captain. I was even surprised, and everyone thought, I thought everybody was going to think, oh, it's because he's my son. I didn't want the captaincy, and I remember everybody was like in support of it, and I was like, wow, like what's this about? But and he said it was all about character, it was all about work ethic, it was all about what you put on the pitch and the way you communicated and stuff like that. He said I could give it to a host of star players, but at the end of the day, you know, you were like the right fit. And I remember we had I won't say his name because God knows where he is now, but we had this Jamaican lad, and he was fantastic. When I say fantastic, Bobby, the technical ability on this guy was so skillful. He was quick, he was strong. Like he was just amazing, but his attitude stunk. Like his attitude stunk. He was always late for training. He used to always, you know, get yellow cards, red cards. And if you know anything, obviously you know about amateur football, you get fined, didn't it? You have to pay fines when you get carded and stuff like that. But for us as the team, we always wanted him to play. We always wanted him to play because he was so good. He was that player that would get you a goal. And I remember my dad kicked him off the team. Like there was one too many issues, and he kicked him off the team. And we were all like this. We had, you know, head in our hands. How are we going to do? We're going to get relegated. And obviously, don't get me wrong, first 2-3 games, we really struggled. And then before you know it, we had the best season we'd ever had that year. And it was the year he got rid of this player.
Yeah.
And it was all to do with, and it wasn't until we reflected on it and we thought to ourselves, you know what, it was the best decision, because even though he was the best player on the pitch, he was also the most condescending. He was also the one that would rinse all the other players when they gave away the ball. You know, he was always the one that would turn up late for training, you know, be on the phone, you know, and stuff like that. And what you just said there kind of took me back to kind of my childhood days. And it is a valid point, because I think as fans, we forget that. I think we always are looking for, like you said before, the shiny new toy. We're looking for the star striker. We're looking for that, you know, that explosive winger. You know, we're looking for the amazing, you know, centre mid number 8. But really and truly, every squad, and particularly this squad, and I think that's what this season has proven. This squad has needed your El Nenis. This squad has needed your Cedrics. Yeah. Because let's look at it. When it comes to the money end of the season, when we were looking down this dark tunnel, thinking we've just lost 3 games, what can we do? Arteta brings El Neni in, and we go and beat Chelsea and Man United. And the guy puts in arguably 2 man of the match performances. It's nuts. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's nuts, man. So it is a very important point. And like I said, as fans, we do somewhat get, you know, kind of sidetracked by, like I said, the marquee signings, the big boy players, the big fees. But really and truly, we need to look at it as a squad, because that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's a 25-man squad, and not everybody can start. Do you know what I mean? And you need all different types of characters to make sure that the squad is doing exactly what it ought to do. So yeah, no, it's a good point. We've got Mr. Silver Fox here, and everybody seems in agreement as well. Mr. Silver Fox, Cedric is a decent squad player. Really Sakar saying the way he was taking free kicks against Southampton, we all thought he was a Saints agent. really Sakar to lighten the mood. Keith, big up Keith. He goes, "What's up, man? We're all good, Keith, man. Glad you're with us." Gio Guna, not first choice, but valuable at the moment. Lee Meadows, Bobby is spot on. Cedric has been solid. Fair play to him. And Gio Guna is referring to the Uber effect. Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. You know, having that.
I was going to say that. I was going to when you said you got rid of your boy just like when we got rid of him.
Yeah. Trust me, I was gutted. I remember going home thinking like I wanted to, because I couldn't say nothing to my dad, didn't it? West Indian dad, he would have clapped me. Do you know what I mean? But I was thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Like, you literally just kicked out our only chance of winning any games this season. Do you know what I mean? But in fact, in the long term, it had the complete opposite effect. We became a better team when he was out of the squad. So, you know, yeah, definitely. Now, I'm going to bring up on the screen one of your favorite players, Mr. DCL from Everton. Now, if reports are to be believed, DCL has said to some close friends and family that he is wishing for nothing more than a transfer to Arsenal this summer. Now, before I let you off your leash and I let you go, Bobby, DCL, I don't know what your opinion was on DCL last season, but I know, you know, and guys, you know, come in the chat, let me know, correct me if I'm wrong if you weren't thinking the same thing. The Arsenal fan base was fully behind the DCL transfer from Everton to Arsenal last season. You know, all types of fees were being quoted. I remember seeing on the timeline, it was a transfer that, you know, I would say 80% of the timeline was back in terms of a transfer from Everton to Arsenal. And for whatever reason or another, it didn't happen. And now, obviously, Everton and DCL have had an absolute dreadful season. Everton on the verge of getting relegated. The guy's been injured. You know, he seems to have forgotten where the goal is. And all of a sudden, you know, he is the last choice, if not no choice, of any Arsenal fans in terms of coming to the Emirates. Now, I know you're not a fan. But I want you to imagine. I want you to obviously give me your opinion on a transfer to Arsenal, but also at the end of the day, these rumors are not going anywhere. So first of all, what is your opinion in terms of him as a player and a transfer to Arsenal? And two, obviously your reaction if we do go ahead and sign him.
My thoughts on him as a player is average at best. He had one good season where he scored a few headers under Rafa Benitez.
Yeah,
when he was just playing 4-4-2 and just putting, you know, actually it was Ancelotti. Ancelotti, wasn't it? He changed it to 4-4-2. Two wingers who just throwing balls into the box. So he was, all his goals were one or two touch. They weren't really. He did like a kind of like a Giroud kind of thing. So basically, you have to play to his strengths. But I've already seen that a few weeks ago that Arsenal and a few reputable people actually came out and said it, that we're not now linked with him. That we've moved on. We've put him off the list. We've decided that he doesn't suit us. And when I watch us play, and when I watch Dominic Calvert-Lewin play, he doesn't suit us because he can't play with his back to goal. His first touch is awful. He's got no hold-up play about him at all. He's not strong with his back to goal. He's strong in the air if the ball's being pumped up to him and he can flick on, or if it's in the box and he has to score a header. Yeah. Around the box, he's not very good with his feet and linking up. He doesn't drag defenders around. He's not a Mikel Arteta player. I'm not saying that we're definitely not going to sign him, but I'd be very surprised if we did. Because looking at how he makes Lacazette play, I don't see Lacazette doing anything what Dominic Calvert-Lewin has done anywhere near over the last 4 years. I could more likely see us trying to sign Richarlison, because when we played Everton, one of the only games that we lost earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
Richarlison tore us to bits. He tore us to shreds. And Xhaka and Partey was actually playing that game. He actually had 2 goals disallowed, which I thought were probably goals. And he scored as well. And he ran the team ragged. He's got the personality that we need, that kind of a bit of a shithouse. But one thing I do notice about him is he'll have a little big spell out injured, but then he's always there. And I've noticed also whilst he's been playing in Everton's real poor run, he's been almost like their go-to guy. He's been fighting in all the Everton games. He's been the main guy. It hasn't been Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's been the one who stepped up and took penalties. He's been the one who's been carrying the team. Him and the young boy Anthony Gordon. So I don't see why we're going to watch Everton play every week, see Dominic Calvert-Lewin shitting up the pitch, and then watch Richarlison doing what he's doing, and then we're going to go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't understand what clever Dick has put these links together, because to me it's just hot air.
Yeah. Well, the Richarlison thing is, like I say, that's why I've got the picture, the picture prepared, is because by all accounts it's saying, I don't know whether it's, obviously all of these things are rumors, you know, we're just speculating from obviously what's happening on the timeline, but the rumors are that he's been offered. The rumors are that he is leaving Everton this summer. Whether or not they get relegated or whether they survive, he wants a new challenge. And the rumors are that, you know, his services have been basically offered to, you know, most of the top kind of 6 teams in the Premier League. Now, obviously, it's clear that you know you're not a fan of DCL. And I think, to be honest, I think I'd be surprised if anybody in the fan base at this point, you know, if DCL is kind of in that conversation of strikers that they want to come to the club, particularly with some of the names that we've been rumoured with. My concerns with, because I won't spend too much time on DCL, because for me, it's a big no. I don't even think I need to really waste any more time on it. I think you made it pretty clear, and I kind of echo everything you said. The thing with Richarlison is that my only concern is that, first of all, he kind of predominantly operates from the left-hand side, from what I've seen in terms of the games I've watched. And don't get me wrong, I know we're looking for squad depth. We've got Martinelli there, we've got ESL there, and obviously we'll have Richarlison. I'm not completely convinced that Martinelli is going to be operating centrally next season. I don't really see that as the kind of position where he's going to play. I don't particularly see ESR successfully at this point in his career going into the middle. I kind of see the two of them kind of rotating on the left-hand side for next season. I know he can play centrally, so I've got a bit of concerns about in terms of where he plays and why we would need that type of a player. But also, I have to admit, like, the times I've seen him, he's either looked absolutely, you know, clinical, or he's just looked like he really, really, you know, it takes him 3 or 4 chances to bury a goal. And I do have concerns about, you know, how clinically is he? And is he the type of player that we can bring into the squad that's going to get us, you know, 15, 20 goals? I'm not completely convinced. In terms of Richarlison, like, give me your thoughts about, obviously, you know, because I know you'd be in favour of the transfer. Give me your thoughts on, like, where, if we did buy him, where you'd see him operating across the front three, and also what you would kind of see as a reasonable fee, you know, given, obviously, you know, he's still in contract at Everton, despite whether they go down or stay up. So, yeah, where do you see him playing if he comes into Arsenal, and what would you consider a reasonable fee for Arsenal to pay for him?
Well, he's only got a year left, so
yeah.
With DCL's got 3 years left on his deal. I think he's just signed a new 4-year deal or a 5-year deal not long ago. So yeah, Richarlison's only got a year left, so perfect timing. I've had my eyes on Richarlison from when he was at Watford. We should have signed him from Watford instead of Everton signing him, because I went to his first game for one of his first games for his first season for Watford. Sorry, I went to the Arsenal Watford game, and he was the best player on the pitch. We won 2-1, but I think Lacazette scored that day. I think Lacazette might have actually scored 2.
You kind of forget, innit, that he played for Watford. Mad.
Yeah, but he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
like by far, I was like, who is this kid? Like this Brazilian, he's young Brazilian. He was doing everything, and since then I've just kind of watched. I kind of liked him.
Yeah,
and he can play. You know, he plays number 9 for Brazil, don't you?
Mm.
He starts number 9 for Brazil. Jesus starts on the right, and Neymar starts on the left. That's their main front three. That's how they play. Paqueta in the 10. So he can play.
You see him as the 9, the type of number 9 that we need.
100%. What you have to look at as well is you have to look at modern football. Yeah. Carlson can play left. He can play right. He can play central. He can play central in the 2, and he can play central. He can play central up front on his own, like he did against Arsenal. For Everton when he absolutely tore Gabriel and Ben White. He pulled them all over the place. They didn't know what to do with him. So he can do everything. He's you know what he is. He's one of these young modern foot forwards. He's like Gabriel Jesus. He's like Martinelli. He's like these young forwards, like Mbappe. He's like obviously he's not as good as Mbappe. There's levels, isn't there? But you know, these, you know, Watkins, these young forwards now can play across the front three. There's not just that's why the DCL link doesn't fit, because he can only really play up front as a target man. And I don't think that Mikel Arteta is going to sign a target man. I don't think he's going to sign, you know, the Vlahovic link. Vlahovic can play on the left. He's played on the left for
he definitely seems to be targeting players that can kind of play across. Obviously, they might have like a preferred, or they might specialize in a certain, you know, position. But it definitely looks like we're targeting forward players that can play across the front three and do kind of multiple roles, you know, within that front three.
Exactly. And also, when the other thing, what you got to think about, we touched on it earlier. We're going to be in Europe next year, and we're gonna have had a turnover in the squad. This season was almost kind of like he can see what he needs. So when we get to the summer, he's going to fix a lot of the areas. So when we're going to go into next season, we're going to be a lot better prepared. Which means that we're going to go further in competitions, and we're going to need a good squad. So certain players we're not necessarily buying because you're going to start as number 9, and that's where you're going to play for the whole season. I hear you. Things might change as the season go on, as you've seen. I was coming off the bench a lot. He started the last 2 games, and Martinelli's been on the bench. You know, so different things are going to happen throughout the season. If we'd had better players throughout the squad, we'd have probably seen Gabriel out for 5 games on the bench. Or maybe Ben White would have been out for a few games, or maybe a Party or a Chaka would have been out. But we just haven't had the squad to be able to do that. But with ESR and Martinelli, as you notice, we have been able to do that because ESR and Martinelli are kind of like they've been both their weight in gold when they've been starting or when they've been off the bench, you know. So, and then obviously now Mikel's admitted that maybe he should have given Eddie more minutes because Eddie's done just as good a job as what Lacazette has been doing over the last however.
Eddie's look lively, man. Eddie's look lively.
So he's seen something and thought, well, you know, if I have 2 different types of each position, then I can do that. I can play you for 5 games, give you a little rest, play you for 5 games. But then next season, we're going to be playing twice a week a lot. We're going to be in a lot of tournaments. So you're going to need that level to be high throughout the 19, 20, 21 players, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think buying someone like DCL it doesn't fit what we're doing. But buying someone like Richarlison does, because if any of that front three get injured, Richarlison can go in and do any of their jobs. Also, what he also can do is he could be our number 9 for the season. He could go there, stay there. He could control that position. He could do that job. We could get used to him doing that job. He could be the number 9 who scores goals. But then also, if he drops off, we'd have hopefully a Gabriel Jesus to come in and do that, or a Nunes to come in and do that, or maybe Martinelli can go in and do that, and then the ESR can go on the left. You know, so having those options, it's good. I think what he's going to look at, we've got front three at the minute, haven't we? We've got ESR, we've got Gabby, we've got Martinelli. And he's going to buy hopefully another 2 or 3 to complement them, and those 2 will be able to play all 3 positions. That's what I envisage anyway. I'm looking at someone like a Nunes and someone like a Richarlison, or someone for like a 30 million and someone for maybe like a 50, 60, 70 million. That's what I'm looking at. For that
it's looking that way in terms of like when you look at the players we're targeted.
The fact that we went for Vlahovic says it all, really.
Big money.
And the other thing that I do like is that all the noise has gone quiet on Nunes. No one's not saying anything.
Which is what we want. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want, because he was making too much noise in that Champions League for my liking. We want it to go quiet. Mr. Silver Fox here. DCL. No. So that's pretty unanimous from Mr. Silver Fox. Gio Guna, DCL equals in decline. Rudy Sakar, DCL. Merseyside Eddie, but he's okay as a backup. Lee Meadows, I'm not gonna lie, I like DCL. Said on the channel I wanted him, but the guy has had a nightmare this season. Fares. Gio Guna, quick question before we move on. Instinct, Richarlison or Gabriel Jesus?
Both.
We
get him for 50 million.
Snapper bread. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. Nketiah signed a ting. Rudy Sakar. Leipzig scored late against Rangers. Okay, what was the final score? I'm assuming it was 1-0 to Rangers. Mrs. Silver Fox. Richarlison is an absolute no. He'll be poison. Okay, that's a comment. Give us some context in terms of that, Tony. I'd love to know why you have that opinion. Rudy Sakar, Nunes won't be coming to the Arsenal. Okay, well, you never know. We're moving on to our next one now, because we've got 2 more players before we get onto the preview of West Ham. Now, Ruben Neves, this is a player that's been linked with us, to be honest, for as long as I can remember. It seems like every summer window, every January window, we get linked with, Ruben Neves. And speculation today that Wolves are expecting him to leave this summer. And some of the quoted prices, they're saying, in a market that we're in, they're probably looking for something between 60 to 100 million, which I'm not going to lie. When I saw 100 million, I just thought, you must be having a laugh. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I would be absolutely gobsmacked if any team in world football pays 100 million for Ruben Neves. I don't know. Maybe I'm a minority, but that's just what was my gut instinct when I first saw that price tag. I don't know, obviously, if it's just PR. They're trying to put off clubs, when really and truly, behind closed doors, it's probably a completely different price. But, looking at Arsenal, midfield is an area we do need to strengthen. At the moment, our only 2 really viable options in midfield is Xhaka and El Nene. It's quite clear from what we've seen this season that Lokonga's not ready. Partey's had a couple of injuries. Well, to be honest, since he's come to the club, it's been pretty much an injury-hit career at Arsenal, despite his recent form. But is Ruben Neves a player that you see, good enough or adequate enough to come in for Arsenal and do a job in our midfield? And secondly, what do you make of a potential 75 to 100 million pound price tag that's been put on his head?
Everyone probably think I'm really miserable tonight, but I'll be honest, he's another one. I've never rated him. Scores the odd fancy goal. Scores the odd fancy goal every now and again, but when do we ever if he was that good, he would not have been at Wolves for the last 5 years. He wouldn't have been there. Man United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, someone would have come and took him. You're being linked to Arsenal, and now you're being touted for 100 million because we need players. It's boring. I think maybe if it was a deal that could be done for around 30, 35, 40, I could see us signing him, because he's got till 2024. I think maybe the year after next season.
I think he's got 2 more years on his deal.
But one thing I have noticed is that he's only on 50 grand a week. So it could be his agent trying to get him that big deal, that big next deal.
Yeah,
I know that Arsenal need a player, but no, he doesn't seem like the kind of player that we signed, to be honest. Because
he's not one. He's not one that you seem convinced by.
Well, every time he's played against Arsenal, Xhaka's played better than him. The last 3 games we played against him, we beat them. And he hasn't stood out at all, and he hasn't stood out in the Premier League season. When you think about midfielders, think about midfielders in the Premier League, he's not one that's really stood out.
He doesn't come to mind.
There's others that have stood out for me more, and definitely, I heard the manager say that he's worth. If anyone wants him, they'd have to pay 100 million for him.
Yeah.
It's just laughable, isn't it? He's not worth anywhere near that. And probably because of where he's at in his contract, they could probably command a decent fee because he gets Portugal caps. He plays every game pretty much. He is an ever-present, so probably character-wise, he's probably the kind of player that we want to buy. Also, looking at the fact that he's got the captain's armband on shows that he is a good character. So I could see he would be the kind of character that we would be looking to buy, but I think he'd be more the kind of deal that we do when he comes to the end of his contract, because I don't think anybody's going to go out and spend 100 million on him, just like you said, because he's not that amazing. For me, he seems quite immobile. He doesn't seem that like he gets around the pitch like he's that much of a box to box. He's more of a passer. He doesn't seem to be like a big tackler. Like he breaks up attacks and like he wins the ball back loads, but it's about what he does on the ball. But I mean, he doesn't do that much on the ball to be that amazing. Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, those kind of players, Odegaard, Eriksen, that we see them do things on the ball week in, week out. We don't really hear about Ruben Neves doing it every week. So I don't know. There'd be others I'd be wanting to get other than him first, probably Tillemans or Bissouma, or if it was someone from the Prem. But I've got a feeling that Arsenal have got their eye on someone cheap, unknown, and young.
I'll be honest. Like, if you're talking about Premier League proven players, because we've been heavily linked with Premier League players. Like if you look at the links, and I know it's all rumors, I know it's all speculation, but if you look at the names, the players that we've been linked with, predominantly at the moment, it's all from the Premier League. And I think if you were to say to me, like, buy me a Premier League midfielder right now, he wouldn't top the list. He just wouldn't. Like you said, you mentioned two names there. I'd take Tillemans and Basuma over him every day of the week.
Exactly.
At present, and I don't think. Obviously, Tillemans is in the last year of his contract. He's not gonna. Leicester are not gonna fetch anywhere near what they would have fetched for him if he was under contract for a couple of more years. I think he could go for as little as anywhere between 20 and kind of 40 million this summer, and I think that would be an absolute steal in this market. Basuma's the one that really surprises me, because I'm not really sure why he's still there. No disrespect to Brighton. But every time I see Brighton, I watch Brighton play, he just looks like an absolute beast. He looks like an absolute menace in that midfield. Like he stands out. Like when I watch them play, I feel like he stands out. And I don't know whether that's because I'm particularly watching him or I'm not sure. But
it does for me as well. Yeah, it stands out.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why he's still there. Like I thought he was definitely going to go last summer, and and when he didn't go last summer,
maybe something to do with the rape charge.
possibly. I was dead certain he was going to leave in January, and then obviously, like I don't even know what the status is of that situation, but by all accounts, I think it's been dropped. I don't really know, but yeah, he's a player that I'm just really surprised he's at the club, and he's been at the club, for so long. I think, there's got to be more to that why he's not made a big move, because even if you listen to the teams that are interested in him as well, like I think Liverpool were interested, United interested, Chelsea interested. So it's a bit crazy why he's still there. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see how that unfolds. We've got some comments here. So we've got the next one. I think Tony's going to give us some context in terms of his opinion on Richarlison. Richarlison has an attitude that Arteta will not like. Also a player that does brain dead things, a hothead, and he's simply overrated. Okay, that's a strong.
So the same about Xhaka.
That's a strong view from you, Tony. Ruben Neves is not worth 100 million. I'd love him, but not paying more than 40 million max for him. And that's kind of a very similar price to what you said, Bobby, with regards to fee. That seems like the kind of benchmark reasonable fee for him. Neves, overpriced, overrated. Would have bought him in this winter, but not for the season coming up. Okay. And Joe Gunn again for 40 million, put an extra 10, 15 for Basuma. Okay. Right. Now, the last player we're going to do before we move on to our preview of the West Ham game at the weekend, I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest, Bobby. I'd never heard of this guy before. The rumor surfaced a little bit early. I think it was either today or yesterday, and it was a player. And I actually have to look at my notes just to remember his name, because that's how much I actually didn't know about the geezer. His name is Nahuel Molina. Now, I hope I pronounced that right. I probably pronounced it wrong. He's a right back who plays his football in Serie A for Udinese. And looking him up this season, he's got 6 goals, 4 assists. And the article I read about him actually labeled him as like the South American Trent. That was basically the headline. He's the South American version of Liverpool player Trent Alexander. Now it's an interesting one because obviously we've spoken about the futures of Bellerin, we've spoken about the future of Cedric, and obviously Tomiyasu and so forth. And right back situation's never really been a for a lot of Arsenal fans. I don't think we're too concerned about the right back situation. So it's interesting that we are linked with this guy. But I think what makes this deal or this potential deal even more interesting is that obviously a certain Pablo Mari is playing his football at Udinese as we speak. And there's been rumours that we could potentially use... Yeah, he did. We could potentially use Pablo Mari in negotiations as part of a kind of player plus cash deal. Now, you said you know a bit about this guy. Talk to me. What do you know about him? Is he a player that you'd welcome at Arsenal?
No. He's
do you want anyone coming to Arsenal, Bobby?
That's what I'm saying. People are going to sound miserable tonight. With this boy, I like South American football. I like Boca Juniors, and he had massive. Like, they spoke about him highly in Argentina. Yeah. He was the next big thing, all this kind of stuff, and then he fell out with the coach.
Okay.
And then I think he got injured, but I didn't hear about him for ages. And then I think he signed for Udinese. It wasn't this season. I think it might have been the season before. I think it might be the last season. And yeah, he hasn't really stood out. But for me, what it looks like his main issue is his attitude. He seems like he's been at like 3 teams since he left Boca Juniors.
Which is not great.
I think he went to a Chilean team and then he went back to Argentina. I'm not too sure. You'd have to Google it. So then when I saw Udinese signed him, I was like, I did not recognize the name, but I don't know whether he stood out. He's obviously talented, but now he's 24. Has he grown up? Coming to Europe, maybe. So I don't know. I haven't actually seen any of the links. I just when you messaged me before about him, or you I saw, did you message me or I saw it on Twitter or something?
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd seen that we were linked with him. But I understand the links, but and he is. I haven't seen much of him as well recently. I haven't watched Udinese play, but I remember him when he was a kid. He was one of those raging right backs that got up and down.
Yeah,
he had a sweet right foot. He had a nice shot on him. He used to score the odd goal, get really lovely assists. He could cross. He was all about his crossing.
That's what the article was basically saying. Yeah,
he could pick people out with his crossing and his passing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe if he's grown up a bit. One thing I do remember about him, he was quite short. So he didn't seem like a Mikel right back. But Cedric's short, isn't he, as well? So
yeah.
You never know. But again, is this link just come out because Cedric had a bad game? You never know with these things, do you? And then obviously because Udinese have got Pablo Mari. Easy to link the two of us, isn't it? But he doesn't seem like a Mikel Arteta kind of player from a stature or an attitude standpoint. If we look at the history of some of the players that you've got, they've played for good teams at good level. Like Ramsdale played for 2 good teams at the Premier League. Tomiyasu played for Bologna before he came from wherever he came from, and he was there for his whole career. So he's not in players that have jumped from club to club to club, and he has done that. So there's obviously an issue. But as I said, maybe he could have grown up. He could have had a kid and come to Europe.
Yeah.
He's opened up. I'm actually now going to watch Udinese's next game and see what.
No, this is it. Yeah, that's why it's so interesting with these transfer rumors, because like sometimes like we get linked to players, and I'll be honest, like in my younger days, I used to watch a lot of football, like a lot of world football. I would watch, the South American leagues. I'd watch Serie A, I'd watch La Liga. I just don't have the time a lot of the time. So I try my best to watch the Arsenal games, and I try my best to catch up with like Premier League highlights and stuff like that. But yeah, when it came up, I was like, wow, okay, like, I don't know who this guy is. I haven't even really looked at any clips. The only thing I did was I read the article, and what the article basically said was they kind of dubbed him the next South American Trent Alexander. It spoke about his creativity. Like everything you're saying is basically what the article was saying. Like in terms of an offensive player, like you said, like a ranging fullback, he's brilliant. What the article did also say was that he's very questionable, a suspect defensively. They said he's got real kind of frailties in terms of his kind of defensive play. So obviously that was a concern. But like I said, I've not seen him, so I can only go by what the actual article said. But obviously, if you look at the amount of games he's played, and you look at the kind of 10 goal, contributions, 6 goals, 4 assists, he definitely looks like a player, or sounds like a player, that can give us something, maybe a little bit special in the final third of the pitch. But if anything's to go by in terms of Mikel Arteta, we can see that he wants to build, he wants to build from the back. Obviously, if he's got that creative play, that would work. But at the same time, he wants a tight defense. I think most of our season, albeit, recently we've been a bit leaky at the back, but I think one of the main reasons why we are where we are is because of so many great defensive displays, throughout the season. So, yeah, it is a weird one. And like you say, it could all be just speculation off the back. The fact that Cedric had a bad game, he's been linked away. We've now linked with a right back. You've got all this like agents, doing their thing, trying to get their players moves or bumper contracts. So time will tell. Time will tell whether there's any truth in it. But it does make it interesting with the whole Pablo Mari situation, because I can't remember if it was their manager or director, but I did see some quotes saying that they are going to try and sign him permanently. But what they have said, like most Italian teams say, is, at the moment, they think they will struggle to meet Arsenal's valuation. So that will be an interesting one to see in terms of how that unfolds, because I don't particularly see him coming back to Arsenal and having a future at the club. But I guess, we'll have to wait and see with that one. Any more comments? Got no more comments coming through. Thank you for all of those who are still watching. If you haven't already, please do like obviously like the stream, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to take a very short break, and then we're going to be back for our preview of West Ham versus Arsenal. Right, yes. So thank you for those who've tuned in tonight. We've been on the air just shy of an hour. We're not going to be on the air for too much longer, but obviously we are here to do what we are to do, and that's obviously the lock-in show on a Thursday night, which is probably going to be our consistent day of the week when we do these shows. We're here to preview obviously West Ham versus Arsenal, which is taking place on Sunday at 4:30. I'm glad it's taking place at 4:30 because it means I'll be finished work. I'll be home in time to watch the game, because I missed the United game, which happened last weekend, which I was gutted about. But yeah, so West Ham versus Arsenal. Obviously, do you know what the final score was tonight, Bobby, with the West Ham game?
Was
it 2-1? They lost 2-1. Now, obviously, like for me, that's not a terrible result, because West Ham have obviously lost. However, there's a lot to play for in terms of the second leg. I think for me, the one thing I didn't want to happen is I didn't want Frankfurt to come out and win the game 3-4-0. And then obviously a tie is never dead, but losing, I know they've done away with away goals now, so that doesn't massively count anymore. But yeah, I definitely wanted West Ham to be within, a shout of still being in the game, still having a chance to qualify. But yeah, so West Ham obviously played in Europe tonight. They've got a game on Sunday, not a massive amount of rest time. But also they've got some horrendous injury issues, particularly at the back, centre back. I don't know how Zuma played tonight, but I know he played in the game, and that was a massive, like, kind of fast forwarded schedule back into the first team. So it'd be interesting to see how he played and just how they defended in tonight's game. But West Ham versus Arsenal, I've picked a team. I put it on the bottom of the screen because Martin, our graphics guy, is currently on holiday. And to be honest, I didn't want to bother him with doing a graphic. I hope you're having a good time on holiday, Martin. So I've started with Ramsdale in goal. I've started with a back four of Cedric, White, Gabriel, and Tavares. You see that? I tried to edit it. I actually tried to edit it, and I didn't actually fully edit it. Have you noticed that? Because it wasn't my team there. So I've got a pivot of El Nene and Xhaka in midfield, with Odegaard kind of playing the number 10 role. And then I've got a front three of Saka, Martinelli, and Eddie Nketiah. That's the team I've gone with. And that's the team I've gone with based on the fact that I'm looking at the Chelsea performance. I'm looking at the United performance. And for me, the only one change I would make would be ESR. I drop ESR and I bring on Martinelli. That's the only change I'd make. I think Nketiah has done enough over the last two games to keep his place. I thought he was brilliant against Chelsea. I thought against United, even though Saka scored the resulting penalty, I thought he was unlucky to not get that goal against United when the ball fell to him. I thought he took the chance well. And yeah, I think pretty much the rest of the team, for me, more or less explains itself. I think the only other thing that I might have possibly done is bring Tommy in, but I guess you might have an opinion on that. But I definitely play Tavares at left back. It's nice to see a left back at left back. I don't want, under any circumstances, Xhaka to play left back. We need him in midfield. And El Nene, for me, I think between now and the end of the season, the last two performances against Chelsea and United, I think this guy needs to start between now and the end of the season. I love Lokonga. I love Sambi. He's definitely got a future at the club, but I just think now, money end of the season, I'm going to go with experience, and I'm going to go with El Nene. I think he's got the experience and the know-how to kind of get us over the line in terms of finishing in the best position we can finish. And yeah, that kind of explains my lineup, really. Any thoughts on the lineup? Anything that you do differently going into the game away to West Ham?
Well, first of all, my thoughts on West Ham.
Yeah.
I don't think that we need to worry about anything what they do, or where they're at, or who they've played. I think that's one of the things that Mikel Arteta has done to us now. We've got a level now, and I think that level, our best level, is simply better than West Ham's best level. We showed that when we played them at the Emirates. We beat them 2-0 convincingly, really well. That was kind of the beginning of our good run, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really care what they do. They could have their strongest team out. I think that if we go there like how we have the last two games, you got to remember we just beat Manchester United and Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think that we win. We traditionally always beat West Ham away as well. Being an Arsenal fan, we always go to West Ham and win. I've been to Upton Park a few times actually, and won as an Arsenal away fan. So I'm looking at us going there and getting 3 points because of the confidence that the last two performances have brought. And also, I will say a couple of things that you said, that they're going to be weaker. Obviously, Dawson is going to be injured, and they might rest a few because they're still in Europe. And they might view winning this cup potentially bigger than getting into the top four. So, which they're definitely not going to be in there. They'll probably finish in the European places. But interestingly, with the team selection, I'd actually bring Tommy Asu in. I'd bring him in.
I was so tempted to bring him in.
Yeah, I'll bring him in just to give him some rhythm because he hasn't played. Yeah. I think him coming on for the last seven or so minutes against Manchester United was getting him ready to come back. We want him to be up to speed, don't we? Do you know what I'm saying? So even though it's at the end of the season, he still needs to play games, still needs to play minutes because he hasn't played a lot this season, especially since he got his injury. So I'll bring him back in. The back four, I'll keep the same. obviously we have to play Tavares because he didn't play very well at all against Manchester United.
It worked great. It worked great.
Fair play to Mikel for keeping him on, sticking by him, because he could have easily dragged him. Did you actually hear the fans screaming?
Yeah.
You didn't watch the game. Did you watch the game?
No, I didn't watch the game live. I watched the highlights.
During the game live, you could actually hear fans on the TV screaming, "Get him off! Get him off!"
I saw it on the timeline because obviously I was at work, so I just kept refreshing the timeline. When I wasn't doing anything, I had a stream open, but I saw on the timeline, and literally every other tweet was like, "Get him off! Get him off! Sub him off! What you doing? Oh my God, what's he?" Yeah, and I just thought, wow, like he must be having an absolute mare.
Mad because he scored the first goal, obviously getting in the right area, but defensively he was just poor. And then they started to obviously target his areas as well. So that didn't make it any better. But
and obviously he gave away the penalty as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I think the fact that we were so structured and good going forward didn't really matter as much that we weren't that good at left back, because we after a couple of threats they didn't really have much for the last 20 minutes of the game. So, and I did notice Mikel Arteta he has been doing the rounds on Twitter. He did grab him, didn't he, and pat him on the back, and
he did. Yeah, I saw that.
Pointing on his chest. Obviously, he's empowering him to go out there and do your job and stay on. I'm not going to take you off. So the rest of the team, I'll probably stay the same. I'll probably bring Martinelli in. I don't know whether maybe giving ASR a little run, because he hasn't played, he hasn't started a lot over the last few months. Maybe he knows what he gets now from Martinelli, doesn't he? Because you start Martinelli, you know what you're getting now. You're getting a decent level. He doesn't know that he gets that from ASR, so maybe start ASR so that he gets up to that level, kind of thing. And he hasn't done badly in the last 2 games.
No, he hasn't.
I don't think he's done amazing, and I still don't think that he's going to be the main starter at left wing. I think that's Martinelli's to lose, sort of thing. But the fact that he's come off the bench and been so valuable this season shows that he's still a very valuable member of the team.
100%.
He started against Chelsea and his goal was fantastic. The way he stroked that into the back of the net was just
beautiful. Yeah.
So, we know that we've got a player there, don't we? Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm at that stage now with the ESR where I just want him to develop now, and I just want him to get better, because we know he's a player, we know his level. We know his quality. He's got his England call up off merit, not off popularity. So, man, it's going to be exciting to see how he goes now. We know that Mikel Arteta works well with wingers, what he did with Sterling and Sane and other players. So, it's going to be good to see him develop. And you spot on with Nketiah. He's deserved. I think he's give us a lot of people in the chat moan about Laca's lack of legs. And that's one of the things that Eddie's give us, because he does actually drop deep, doesn't he? He drops deep, but he also gets up front as well. So, man, I could see him grabbing a couple of goals on Sunday as well, to be honest, because he should have scored more against Man United, to be honest.
Yeah, he should have.
And obviously he got his goal against Chelsea, so it's 2 goals.
In terms of this game on the weekend, like, I know you hear this saying, and I know it's cliche, but I'll ask it anyway. Is it a must-win for Arsenal in terms of our hope for top 4?
No, it's not. I mean, in terms of hope for top 4, yes, it's a must-win. But is it a must-win in the bigger picture of where we're headed? No, because I've already shared with you personally that I think that it doesn't really matter if we get into the Champions League, because I don't think that this squad and our club is ready to go into the Champions League at our stage now. Even though we have been into the Europa League off the back of Mikel Arteta's FA Cup win, but when we got into Europe and we were all happy, what happened? We finished 8th.
Yeah.
People don't realise that we probably got into Europe too early by winning the FA Cup, even though we was happy that we won the trophy. Getting us into Europe probably put us back, because it made us finish 8th in the league. And then, it looked like we needed to do a lot more than we actually did have to do, instead of looking at the bigger picture. Having a season out of Europe at that moment would have probably been better for us. Would have probably been better for the squad. like this season has. Not
Yeah,
being
it's true. On reflection,
it's helped the squad. It really has. It's helped. It's
Mm.
helped get rid of the deadwood. It's helped streamline the squad because we haven't needed as many bodies because we're not in as many competitions. So when you look at the bigger picture, I don't think it's a must-win for that. I don't think it's a must-win for. It's a must-win for top four, but for morale in the fan base, I think that the last 6 points gives us a little bit of a cushion now. If we don't get a positive result against West Ham, it's not going to be murders, is it? It's not like we lost against Chelsea. And
we've not lost like the 3 we lost. If we had lost the last 2, 5 on the bounce, boy,
through or something.
Timeline would have been fire and brimstone, man.
So everyone's happy again now. So I think we can go into this game relaxed. But we always finish the season well, don't we? We always
we do. Historically,
quite well.
Historically, we always finish the season well.
Apart from obviously last season and the season that Emery had when we could have got top 4 when we lost out. Spurs. We normally do okay the last few games of the season. So hopefully we do the same. I'm thinking more our momentum will carry us. Because getting our Nenny in the team has kind of give us another lift, hasn't it? And if we just keep that going, see the way that they were celebrating Lacazette right there on the side for Xhaka's goal, and you know, and also Xhaka scoring, Tavares scoring. That's 2 goals from 2 areas where we don't normally get goals. And also in the last 2 games, we've also scored 2 penalties. We very rarely score goals from set pieces. We don't score free.
We very rarely get penalties.
Exactly. We don't get penalties. We don't score free kicks.
Oh god.
We're ready to get them on target, and we don't score from corners. And set pieces are a third of all goals scored. So the fact that we scored 2 penalties in the last 2 games is big. That's what we need to improve on, and we need to improve on goals from midfield. Al Neni had a nice shot as well. De Gea had to dive to keep it. Tavares scored. That's good. Another goal from a defender. So the fact that all the burden's being shared a little bit, that's good. It's good. It's good. So hopefully that can carry us for the next few games. But I don't think that it's myself personally. I don't think it's a must-win game now because I think
I hear you. It makes it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Because even. Regardless of how this season ends, Mikel Arteta is going to be here next season. Whether you see on the timeline, you see some of these accounts, and they're staying stern in their views that he should leave the club, etc. I just sometimes I wish I could just not see the accounts, not come across it, because for me it just makes no logical sense. I'm not sure how you can't see that. This club is making progress, on and off the pitch. I don't really get why you can't or how you can't see that. I went on the record of saying I think regardless of where we finish this season, Mikel Arteta is going to be in a job. Because when you look at the plan and you look at dare I say it, the process of what we're doing and where we're at, it's long term. It's clear. You can see that from what's happening on the pitch, what's happening off the pitch, in terms of the recruitment, in terms of team morale. You can see it. It's about building something rather than getting results, quick or easy, or just throwing crazy money at the potential problem. You can see that it's not worked at United. People talking about United doing this, United doing that, and this manager and that manager. If you look at their net spend over the last couple of seasons, it's insane. In terms of wages and transfer fees. So, throwing money at it is not the answer. And I do like how, as a club, we are going about it. So, Mikel Arteta is going to be here next season. And I think regardless of where we finish, I think you're right. I think long term, it doesn't have a massive impact in terms of the project that's kind of undergoing at Arsenal. I think in an ideal world, I would love to finish 4th. But I think one of the main reasons I'd love to finish 4th is because it means we would finish above Tottenham. I think that is probably the main kind of driving force. I think obviously it would make it easier to kind of attract players, and I'd love to see my club in the Champions League. I think it's been 5 seasons now we've not been in in the Champions League.
I got a question for you there. It's because you got to remember we've been in the Champions League longer than any other club in the Premier League, and we got to one final. It wasn't a happy time us being in the Champions League. We used to lose. We was embarrassed every year.
10-2 aggregate, wasn't it, against Bayern?
You know, we get into the Champions League next season, and we play PSV in the quarterfinals, Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. At this stage of our rebuild, we're getting embarrassed, and then you're getting Mikel Arteta out. We're getting all the players getting destroyed. Is that good for us now? Just so that the fans get that to hear the Champions League music and get something that we miss, or do we want to be in there where our squad's prepared and ready to actually give it a real go? I'm not saying we have to win it at the first attempt, but being in the Champions League and being a serious team in it means that you've also got to think about your domestic campaign as well, because that's your bread and butter at the end of the day. So you don't want to be in the Champions League at the detriment of what goes on for you domestically, because as we've seen, look at West Ham. I mean, look at Leicester.
It's tough to balance.
Leicester were top 4 team over the last 2-3 years, and all of a sudden now they're like, where are they? They're not 9th. I mean, they've hardly been in the top 10 all season. Why? Because they're in the semi-final in the European Cup.
It's not easy. It's not easy to juggle.
They got to the final of the FA Cup last year and won it. No little teams have ever won the FA Cup in a long time, but when they do, they suffer. And look what's happened to their squad. They've had lots of injuries. They've struggled domestically, so it's something that we have to balance. You know what I'm saying? So that means we have to get the right characters. We have to not have these flaky characters that get injured, you know, every other week, which is what our squad has been full of over the last few seasons. We need to get characters that take knocks and then, you know, they can still play the next game, or they come back, they recover quick because their attitude's right and they act the right way off the pitch, you know. So all these things have to be right. You know, we can't go into the Champions League with the squad that we've got now, and also still expecting the team to finish top 4 as well. We'll suffer because that's what's happening now. That's why the gap between the top 2 and the rest is so big, because their squads are so elite. You know, they both feel good 11-a-side teams and do well. You know what I'm saying? So think about Liverpool at the beginning of the season. You saw Ox, you saw Keita, you saw Tsimikas play. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them now. At the business end of the season, you see their best team playing every game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Every game, week in, week
out. We can't afford to do that just yet. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's no point in us just getting into the Champions League just for just for the fun and the aspects. You know what I mean? I always look at these things as a more pragmatic thing, because as I said, we got knocked out by, was it Olympiacos? Aubameyang missed it.
It was.
We nearly got to the final. But we finished 8th. The year that Emery got to the final, we finished 8th.
8th,
So when you look at those things, you have to look at the bigger picture, and that's what I've done over the last couple of years. That's why I'm not really on the, you know, I did think that this team could finish 3rd because we've played that well and we've looked that well, and if we didn't have KT and Partey injured, we probably could have finished 3rd. When you look at the 2 results that we've just had, an extra 9 points,
that was a massive
extra 9 points, we'd have been above Chelsea now. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's you know, it's a no-brainer. It's the way I feel about that whole thing. Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear you, man. In terms of the West Ham game, for me, I'm actually relatively relaxed about it. Like I said, I think if you had asked me that after the 3 back-to-back defeats, I probably would have had definitely a different view, because I don't know if you remember, but we speak quite a bit, but I was absolutely dreading the Chelsea game.
So both of us was on the stream. We said,
we both predicted defeat. I was dreading Chelsea, and then obviously once the Chelsea result happened, I was pretty much looking forward to the United game. But don't get me wrong, like, even though I wasn't watching it and I was following it, I could tell it wasn't a straightforward victory. But nevertheless, we got the win. So now, I'm pretty confident against West Ham. I think we're going to get the 3 points. Please, obviously, those of you who are still watching, please do put your score predictions in the chat. I'm going to come to you, Bobby. Obviously, you know, massive game at the weekend, 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. kickoff against West Ham. What do you see the score line being?
I see us winning 3-1, 3-1. Yeah, I'll go 3-1. We've been creating a lot of chances. Even in the games, as you pointed out before, we've been creating a lot of chances in all the games that we've been that we've won, and even in the games that we lost. So I think we're in our pump. Dawson's actually been playing really well. I actually went to the West Ham versus Kidderminster Harriers in the FA Cup. My goalkeeper's brother plays for for Kidderminster. He's the centre. So and I was right in front of Dawson for the whole game, and he's actually an absolute unit.
He's
massive. I was like, he won absolutely everything in the air. He's just like, And I was like, yeah, man. Without him there, because he's been good for them in West Ham's run, he's always been kind of slated, hasn't he? But it goes back to the point that we was talking about before. It's about characters, isn't it? And Moyes is an experienced manager, and he's got the right characters in that dressing room, which has carried them to where they are. So I think him missing is a massive
huge loss for them.
Huge, a lot more so than Dawson. You've seen they've lost tonight. I think that we could beat them 3-1.
3-1, no problem. I'm pretty as confident as you, and I'm probably going to go 3-0 Arsenal. I think what I've seen of West Ham lately, dare I say it, from what I've seen, the goals have pretty much kind of dried up. I think defensively we can handle them, and I think as much as there are question marks and concerns about our offensive play. And obviously, what we're going to do, recruitment-wise in the summer, I think we've got enough going forward to really, really punish them. So I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. So please do put your scorelines in the chat. I'm going to go through some of the comments now. Really, Sakar making some jokes here. G not making the break long enough for Bobby to grab his drink.
Wasn't the drink, mate.
Gio Guna, oh gosh, Katazuma, go on then. Gio Guna, that was good, that was funny. I don't want animal rights to get onto me, man. Gio Guna, exactly my team, G. And Gio Guna's gone in there first, boy, straight in there. 2-0 to the Arsenal will be the final score on Sunday. Do you think some of our players will leave if no Champions League? Saka, ESR, Gabriel.
No, part of a movement. They've all already said that they wouldn't leave. They're all staying for a long time. We're not in Champions League now. And also the point that I've made about players are attracted to money. They're not attracted to Champions League. They get attracted to Champions League when they've got the money.
100%. And I'm with you. I'm with Bobby on that. I completely echo. I don't get me wrong, I think it will be a different conversation in a couple of years' time, depending on how much progress is made. But right now, I don't see us in danger of losing any of our young players, particularly those 3 that I mentioned in the comment. But thank you for the comments. Good question. Mr. Silver Fox, spot on, G. Not sure what you're referring to, but thank you for the compliment. Really, Sakar, can we attract quality players though with Arteta at the helm? I think we already have.
Have we not?
Yeah, I think
Partey.
Yeah, I think we already have. I think Thomas Partey came from a very successful Atletico Madrid team that was competing in both the Champions League and
also, the Liga. Also, we are Arsenal.
100%.
We sell ourselves, mate. Exactly. We've got heritage. We've got history. We've got marble halls. We've got something, that means something. Managers come and go. Players come and go. Arsenal will always remain. And we will always sell ourselves, mate.
100%. So really, Sakar, in terms of that question, I like I said, me and Bobby are both in agreement. I think we already have attracted players, and I think if you look at the players we're linked with, and I think I'll go as far as to say if you're going to look at the players we are going to sign this summer, I think that will answer the question.
DCL telling his pals that he wants to come to Arsenal. Come on.
Exactly. Mr. Silver Fox, got to remember, we won't be in the pot 1 for the draw 2. That's if we get through the qualifying round, okay? So he's referring to Champions League. Really, Sakar saying here, there's no qualifying round. I thought there still was. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. I still thought that there was a qualifying round. I thought that the team that finished 4th in England...
They've increased the numbers. Yeah, he's right.
Okay, so it's under the new format from next season.
New format now, yeah. There's all
okay. Well, thank you for that, Riddy. Yeah, thank you for confirming that, Riddy. I'm gonna have to look. I do know I am familiar with the new format, but I do need to remind myself of it. Jill Guna, good look at the bigger picture, Bobby. Yeah, for sure, 100%. Always brings a different perspective, which I love. So yeah, no, all good. Riddy Sakar saying 2-1 Arsenal. Mrs. Silver Fox, yeah, I'll go 3-1 to the Arsenal. They'll definitely miss Dawson at the back. Lee Meadows, 3-0 Arsenal. Jill Guna, 2-0, as he said. Oh God, what's his name? I think is it James? Oh, I can't even remember now. I can't actually remember your names. My apologies. But you've gone 3-0 Arsenal, 12-1. Mr. Tony, Tony, Mr. Silver Fox, big up G and Bobby, great stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, Tony. Appreciate the positive feedback. 7-1, 2-1 for Riddy. And then we've got 3-1 for Bobby, which is 12-1. And Riddy Sakar, there's no qualifying round for the English teams. Okay. In terms of obviously a charity bet, because I know we've got your score 3-1, Bobby. You got my score, which is 3-0. I'll pass them over to Stephen. I'm going to literally look at the chat right now and see. And obviously, Gio Goon, I know you put yours in first, but I know we had yours last week. And brilliantly, your 3-1 prediction against United came in. So we actually got £15, which we can donate to the Northern Ireland Air Ambulance charity. So thank you for that. Brilliant prediction. And obviously, some money to go in the kitty for the end of the season charity donation. So I'm looking at the chat. I never picked one out. So I'm going to just go with my man, Riddy Sakar. 2-1 to the Arsenal. So that's going to be the charity bet. And what was it? Oh, yeah, it's here. 2-1 to Arsenal is 7-1, which means if we put £1 on it, we'll get returns of £8 back. So let's hope that is the scoreline, and hopefully we can get the win. There we've got, it's Jamie. There we go. My apologies. It's Jamie. I kind of got it right. I said James. Jamie, James. Do you know what I mean? I was close, man. I was close. Apologies for getting your name wrong, though, man. I really, really do apologize. I just had a bit of a mental fart then. Gio Guna. Yes. Brought in the money for the charity bet. So, yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up the stream. In terms of when we'll be back, I'm not sure if we've got a show tomorrow night. I don't think we do. I think we had one planned, but Lottie, unfortunately, is not too well. So I don't believe she's doing a show tomorrow night. If she is doing a show, then you'll find out as soon as, obviously, we do. We'll tweet about it. We'll put it up, etc., etc. What I do know that is we are back on Sunday for a double header of chat-alongs on Calendar Chatter TV. Lee Meadows, who is in the chat, will be doing 2 chat-alongs on Sunday. He'll be doing the Arsenal ladies game, as well as, obviously, the Arsenal men's game. I believe one of the streams is at 2. The other one will be kicking off at 4. So if you haven't got any plans on Sunday and you're sitting at home and obviously you're fed up with the commentary of those games, please do tune in. More details will be coming your way, obviously, via Twitter and via YouTube. For all of you who have stuck with us for an hour and a half on your Thursday evening, thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. Please do like the stream, press the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And that's about it, really. Bobby, any last words, obviously, as we close tonight's show?
No, man, it's been good talking Arsenal as always. Getting a few things off your chest and bringing it all in, man, as we do together. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to get it all off. Yeah, definitely,
no problem. No, and appreciate you obviously giving your time as always. Because as you know, we are busy men, fathers, working men. You know what I mean? Our time is precious. Yeah, exactly. Our time is precious, man. Last couple of comments here. Riddy Sakar, it's a London derby away. We all know how close it will be. Gio Guna, good stream, fellas. Thank you so much for the positive feedback, Gio. And Riddy Sakar, great show, chaps. We are the Arsenal. And you know what? On that note, I think no better way than to close the show. But yeah, we'll be back as soon as possible. Watch out on Twitter, watch out on YouTube, set those notifications so you don't miss out on anything. But yeah, until next time, keep chatting.
Take it easy.